I am that man, your man, the illustrious tour guide Cole Johnson is back. And on this episode, we're going to talk about cheating referees, people who don't know who R&B legends are. We'll have, of course, have a prayer for Tony La Russa. We're, of course, going to go in the vote. We have an email to send. We're, of course, going to have the DOLT of the week. And we're going to have, and upon further review, a tribute to a special athlete. But for now, let's get to those headlines. So now we are in September, and now the stretch drive begins. And there are key questions that I think all people are asking for Major League Baseball in terms of how the things are going to play out. Questions such as, who is going to claim the NL East? It's looking more and more like the Braves are gaining traction on the Mets. Who knows? But that's going to be an interesting race all the way down to the end. See. So, when will the Dodgers clinch the NL West? Look, it doesn't really matter. The team is so bored. I think for them, it's like, okay, we'll pick a day. I mean, it pretty much is that way. And they've ruled the NL in general because it looks like everything's going to have to go through there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think everything will have to go through there because I think they'll be even hosting a World Series no matter who comes out the AL. Now, the National League's last two wild cards in this last month, who is going to lobby for it? So, of course, right now you have in the running, you have the Brewers, the Phillies, who they haven't been in the playoffs in a decade, and you have the Padres. They are all battling. Will the Brewers and Phillies actually claim that fifth and sixth postseason spots for the NL? That's interesting. That is really interesting. And if things go as planned and Philly doesn't lose the ball, well, then they will also be in the postseason. They all might be bounced in the wild card round, but at least they'll be able to say they saw postseason play. Now, in the AL Central, who is going to take that anemic division? Will it be the Guardians? Will it be the Twins? It might be the White Sox, too, because they aren't out of it either. And the Orioles, who were so hideous in April. Now, they are making a play for the third wild card in the AL. Can they get there? That would be probably the best story, if not one of the best stories in the 2022 MLB season. And of course, then it's all about the home run clubs. Who is going to get what? Will Aaron Judge for the Yankees get to number 62, which means he will have the most home runs as a Yankee in a single season and the most home runs by an AL batter in a single season? And will Albert Pujols get to 700 dingers before he hangs it up? I pray he does. He's at 695 at the moment. But yeah, there are many questions that will lead us to conclude that September is going to be really, really interesting. Switching over to the NBA, and not necessarily on the court at the moment, but a documentary featuring Tim Donaghy. Now, you all might not be familiar with him. He was a referee. He reffed roughly around the mid-90s to mid-2000s. And the Netflix documentary is called Untold Operation Flagrant Foul. It is a very interesting view because I got a chance to see it. I love the documentary. It leads me to conclude that I dislike Tim Donaghy because I think he wants to be ignorant. And I mean he wants to be ignorant. How is it that you referee and you are calling games, you have inside information where you can go to bettors and say you should bet on this team for this reason, and you ref the games? There is no way that you could be an independent arbiter if you are placing bets on, okay, in the game that I'm reffing, I think this team is going to win. Eh? How much sense does that make, Tim? Come on, man. I'm sorry, Vince.
Come on!
Now, you know, doggone well, that doesn't make sense. But, well, what's that saying? Once a liar, always a liar, I guess. Well, keep lying to yourself, Tim. Unfortunately, none of us believe you. to the MLB, or I should say back to the MLB. Whew. A lot of Astros fans are saying just that because Justin Verlander has dodged being on the DL for the rest of the 2022 season.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a special report from Cole Sportz.
Tonight, the NFL kicks off the 2022 season. On one side is the Rams, the other is the Bills. It is in Inglewood. We get to see the defending champs for the first time since they laid claim to the trophy almost 7 months ago. NFL regular season is back. The best part of the sports season is here, and I am all for it. I am jacked. I am pumped. I am excited. Man, I mean, there's so many subplots to this. You know, will Josh Allen actually show even more improvement from last year, which he showed a lot of improvements from the year before? Will Von Miller be that pass rusher that the Bills defense needed and missed last year? Will the Rams miss someone like a Von Miller, or will Wagner, their key pickup at the middle linebacker, will he prove to be the difference in stopping the run for the Rams, which they had a little bit of difficulty in doing in the 2021 season? And of course, will Aaron Donald be Aaron Donald? Will Matt Stafford be Matt Stafford? Will Stephon Diggs be Stephon Diggs? So forth, so on, etc., etc. Kickoff 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Inglewood, California. I'm looking forward to it. Man, NFL 2022. Let's get it.
This has been a special report from Cole Sportz. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming, already in progress.
Now on to Cleveland, back to the NBA. Last week this happened. The Cavaliers get Donovan Mitchell, and they traded all of Cleveland to Salt Lake City. If you don't believe me, here are the details of the contents of the trade. So the Jazz trade Mitchell. The Jazz receive from the trade with Mitchell Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, 3 first-round draft picks, not 1, not 2, 3 first-round draft picks, and rights to swap picks. Can you say the Cleveland Cavaliers got fleeced? I mean, come on, man. You got... Oh, Lord. Okay, so you can celebrate that you got, I won't say a superstar, but you can celebrate that you got a star. But you had a budding team that had great parts, along with Evan Mobley, who you did not trade. You had Sexton to go along with them. You had a squad that was building equity, that was learning how to play together, was building chemistry. But you decide to just simply go, let's blow the team up for something else good. Come on, Cavs. You should know better than that. I mean, it's like you going back in time. It's like you went to the LeBron James school of how to be in the free agent market, trade all of the assets that you have that could help your future out for now, and then you mess up your now and your future at the same time. Sad, sad, sad. That's all I could say. Going to tennis, and we will go to tennis later as well. Nick Kyrgios. I mean, this guy is, how can I put this, problematic. So in a win at the U.S. Open, he said that he smelled some weed. Yes, he detected some marijuana during his U.S. Open match last week. So Kyrgios went on to say during the changeover, I think he said this, quote, "You don't want to remind anyone not to do it or anything. Obviously, I'm not going to complain about food smells. Obviously not." Close quote. Fool, you just want your name to be out there. It does not matter. I mean, how can I put this in the nice, succinct fashion? You, sir, are a headline hoe. So it doesn't matter if you smell weed or not. As long as you get your name out there, that's all which matters to you. Fool. And now on to a serious matter. White Sox manager Tony La Russa. Now, he went to see a heart specialist last week. He now is ruled out for the rest of this year. And, I mean, this guy who coached the White Sox at another time, about 4 decades ago, along with coaching the A's and the Cardinals, he, I think, has seen the end of his run as manager. And bravo to you. I mean, the man is 77. And he flew to Phoenix, and he got a chance to test out his heart at the Mayo Clinic. And it's unknown if he's going to return. But right now, the final year of his contract is 2023. It's possible he might show, but it's quite possible he might not. Whatever it is, I don't care if he is in the dugout or not. Prayers are to Tony. I hope everything goes well with you, sir. You are a credit to the whole entire Major League Baseball family. May you heal quickly, and may you enjoy this game, whether you are in the dugout or in the stands, because you deserve to enjoy this game that you put your heart and your soul and your sweat in many decades on end. And that concludes headlines. When I come back, I have an email to send. I think I'm going to go Brittany Griner with this email. This is Cole Sportz. I'll be right back.
Do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to show that attainability. I want to show the accessibility of this kind of lifestyle.
From social media to having conversations with friends and family, you always have to put on face and say face.
What brings a smile to my face is the one person that totally believes in me, and that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
I just had to stop because I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. And it's like, I have to learn to love myself.
Changing the world one conversation at a time. This is Revelations.
Cole Johnson, Cole Sportz, and there's a certain prisoner in Russia who needs to understand where her pecking order is in life. I say this because supposedly a couple weeks ago, Dennis Rodman was going to go to Russia to free Brittany Griner. Worm, tell me how that went, brother. Please, let me know. Oh, it didn't? That's what I thought. So in this fight to free Brittany Griner that's going into month number 8, She sits in a cell and she's hoping to have some sort of get out of jail free card, and it probably will come at some point. But does it mean that everybody else has to put their careers on hold if they have something to do with the fact that they have some business in Russia? I think not. And I think it is time that I send this to Brittany and to the WNBA. Email. Let's try this again. Email Brittany Griner. CC NBA and WNBA. Such the female. Run me my money. Body of email. It is simple and plain. I will say this at the beginning and probably at the end of this email. You have a person who is in prison because she broke the law. So as Brittany Griner sits in jail because, yes, I know it was just a wee bit of CBD oil, but it was not zero. She sits in the jail because she broke the law. There are people who, of course, were supposed to rally behind her cause, that you should ban being in Russia. There should be no place at all for any person to ply their trade in Russia. After all, they are in war, although I don't know if we declared it or not, but they're in war with Ukraine, and Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, hates the United States. Down with Russia, down with the United States, with whatever thought process they have. Forget it. Russia, no. Here is the problem. In this country, we are governed by the Constitution. One of those edicts is freedom of choice. So if you decide to have a career that happens to take you to Russia, I wouldn't want that for you. I wouldn't pray for that for you. But if you decide that you want to ply your trade in Russia, and I understand why with the WNBA is concerned, because you got people in WNBA who are superstars at that level, but they only earn at most probably what, $250,000 a year? Well, that same star can go to Russia. They don't even have to be the number one star in the league, but they get rock star treatment and they get paid 7 figures a year. What would you do if you get a chance to get slid that much money to do what you love best, although it sucks that you can't do it at your home, but you get a chance to make money and set your life up for good at another location? You would go there and take the bread, especially if you're not going to do any harm to wherever you play. It's to me, it's simple. If this is where you have to go, cool. WNBA, NBA, warn your players that there might be imminent dangers and that you should probably take care of yourself. I would recommend not to go, but if you do go, know that they are checking to lock your behind up. So whatever you do, don't bring any weed. I don't think that message took. Let me say it again. If you decide to go to Russia, don't bring any weed. And for me, with Brittany, this wasn't her first or her second year going to Russia. This was something that she did because she earned 5 times as much as she did in the United States. So when you have that as an issue and a problem, then you have to be careful. But I don't think that is any different than anybody in the Cold World chat, anybody on BS3 who's watching, anybody on YouTube that's watching, anybody who's listening to me on Spreaker or any other platform on the podcast directory front. I don't think it is different. If you go to some place that is international, laws that you don't have here, wouldn't it behoove you to be abreast of what is and what is not legally available to you as a citizen there and as a tourist there?
Yes!
So why would you just blindly say, well, I need this, I don't give a crap, I'm just going to board the plane and go to Moscow and take my chances?
What?
I just don't understand the logic here. That is what landed Miss Griner in jail. The fact that she felt as though, well, this is medicinal, it's okay in the United States. Heck, it's legal. The amount of hemp is legal there. You are in Russia. You're not in the United States. If it's legal in the United States, cool. If it's not legal in Russia, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be thrown in jail.
What?
You're going to be locked up.
What?
Incarcerated.
What?
Key tossed aside.
What?
Political fodder.
What?
Governmental bargaining chip.
What?
It means that your being an athlete doesn't mean a hill of beans because you are just a piddly little athlete in the grand scheme of governmental affairs. Brittany, if you had more to offer to the table, you probably would be free. You probably would be able to traverse the earth, but you aren't. You're just a basketball player who simply did not use her brain and decided you wanted to blaze up. And I understand. Look, Magic Johnson sells CBD oil. I understand why athletes use it. You heal up faster when you use it. So I get the understanding of why you use it. But you got to be at a place where you legally can. Because there's places in this world where you legally can't.
What?
There are places in this world where you legally can't use CBD oil.
What?
I said there are places in this world where you can't legally use CBD oil. And so are these athletes, and there's many of them, there's more than 30 athletes who are basically saying, okay, well, yeah, I will risk whatever issues or troubles that may befall me, and I'm still going to apply my trade over in Russia and play basketball there. Do you think that they should adhere to, well, you see what they did with the Brittany, you should not go there?
You've got to be joking me.
They have the freedom to do whatever the heck they want to do. It doesn't matter who they are, man or woman. They have the freedom to do it. Just as long as they use the noodle and the brain to operate the way they're supposed to operate. So wait, Cole. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that they ain't gonna be about that free Britney life?
You for real?
I don't give a crap about that, and I don't think they should either. Look. You can compare snowflakes that had more CBD oil on her, but they did a negotiating a deal to get her out months after she spent time in jail versus Brittany with basically a drop of CBD oil and having a 9-year sentence. Miss me with that. Miss me with that because it is supposed to be zero. You bring zero, you'll be fine. But did you bring zero amount of CBD oil, Miss Griner? Then you have no room to complain. And neither should anybody who takes up the free Brittany Griner bandwagon. Look, the government and the WNBA and the NBA, you do your part to warn people who go there to not go there. If they decide to go there anyway, good for them. Just as long as they know that they're going to have to deal with a lot of issues. But if they can deal with that and they can get the bread, it doesn't matter. I hope they enjoy themselves. As for Brittany, you're there because you broke the law. I'm sorry. Johnson, Cole Sports. Cole Sports with a Z. Thank you, Ryan. At gmail.com.
You're listening to the classiest sports show on the planet. Cole Sports! From the vault, a look back at a key moment in sports history.
September 6th, 1996. Now, it is exactly 1 year and 1 day after Cal Ripken became the official Iron Man of Major League Baseball, where at Camden Yards there was a big celebration at the middle of the fifth inning. Well, this was a celebration for a different milestone, as the Tigers went to Camden Yards to play the Orioles. At plate was Eddie Murray. And I think Eddie can take care of the rest.
This might be it. Way back it is. It's gone. Hey, 500 for Eddie Murray.
Being part of the 500 home run club, which he was on that date, now makes him a Hall of Famer. Eddie Murray became the next man on the 500 home run list on this date in 1996. Be right back.
From the vault, brought to you by Cole Sports. This is a journey into crime. A podcast journey that tells the stories of those long forgotten or those easy to remember. We go on a journey that reveals mystery, intrigue, and offers more twists and turns than a country highway. We have looked over cases, we've combed over evidence and testimony, yet we still are left with no answers. Sometimes, in order to get a deeper understanding of something, you must return to view. Now available for download for subscribers only. Each episode premieres only on the USA Today Network. Join now for just $1 to receive premium content like Return to View. That's $1 to become a subscriber and a Return to View loyal listener. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Johnson. Let me say hello to the Cold World real quick, because I gotta give them some love before I even continue with the show. Victor Locke, VLock83 says, and now, time for the classiest sports show on the internet. Go Sports! My partner, Snowman in the Morning, and Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, he says, oh, heck yeah. Go Sports! With the Z. Echoed also by Mr. McCarthy. Love you, Ryan. BS3 Network's own, the owner of it, Ben Southern 30 says, up Cole, what's up, Ben? Vic says, wasn't there a handbook or law guidelines she could have brought with her, talking about Brittany Griner in February before she traveled to Russia and getting in the legal wranglings and trouble that she did? And then my partner went back and said, I am so interested in Return to View. And then I have another friend of mine, Sig Diggy. He said, what is it, Cole Sports? Is the karaoke on? It might be. It might be. Because now it is time to introduce our next DOLT of the Week. Week is sponsored by nobody. And you heard me correctly. The winners of this episode's DOLT of the Week are Maria Carillo and Chanda Rubin. Why are they DOLTs of the Week, you may ask? I'm so glad the question came out your mouth. So there was, well, it still is actually now, a tennis tournament that goes on every now and then around this time of year. One of the four biggest, the U.S. Open. And one of the biggest events of, I should say, the biggest event of the whole tournament was seeing Serena Williams in her swan song Fortnite, which was, of course, was ended a little earlier. And we'll talk a little bit more about her a little later. But these two are DOLTs of the Week for this reason.
It almost helps Serena that, oh, got some more stars.
Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight.
Hello.
Let's see that beautiful beach footage again.
It almost helps Serena that, oh, got some more stars.
Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight.
Hello.
What I want you all to understand is that the person you just saw, the woman that you saw, the legend that you laid your eyes on was not Gladys Knight. No. That legend's name is Dionne Warwick. I think Stone Cold, help me out with this.
What?
I said that legend's name is Dionne Warwick.
What?
Dionne Warwick.
What?
I said a D.
What?
An I.
What?
An O.
What?
An N.
What?
N.
What?
You get the message. How in the world would you call that woman Gladys Knight? No, that is not Gladys Knight. There isn't anything about Dionne Warwick that resembles Gladys Knight, not even the skin color. Definitely not the hair color, because I can't remember a time that I ever saw Gladys Knight wear blonde hair. This was and the film was courtesy of ESPN. Now, I would love to say and wave the banner up, this is racism. No, it's not. Before you go there, the two announcers there, Mary Carillo, she is white. She probably is mixed with some Spanish, I believe, in her as well, or Italian, one or the other, but I can't remember which. So, okay, of course, okay, European. All right, no problem. The other voice you heard was Chanda Rubin. Chanda Rubin, if you all do not know, she played in the WTA in the 90s and early 2000s. Early and mid-2000s, actually. And she comes from Louisiana. And Chanda Rubin is black. I said Chanda Rubin is black.
No!
I said Chanda Rubin is black.
You for real?
I said Chanda Rubin is black.
You've got to be joking me.
No, I'm not joking you. Inspiration. They're black because she's black. So how in the world could a black woman who, if I believe, if memory does not escape me, is 47 years of age, think that Dionne Warwick is Gladys Knight? That faux pas is ridiculous to me. That should not have had any place whatsoever to do with that mistake. Now, Ms. Rubin said something to the effect, though, to cover up the mistake. Quote, well, I was looking at another monitor and I saw Gladys Knight because she was in the stands. And so I was looking at that monitor and saying that was Gladys Knight, but the camera was focused on Dionne Warwick. But still, my bad. Close quote. Another monitor.
You for real?
Another monitor.
No!
Another monitor. Woman, please.
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
And before I conclude, let me go back to the Cold World because I know they have some things to say about that. My man Brian saying the DOLT is on. That's right. Sick. Even Sick knows that's Dionne Warwick. Vic, he says, how did they get that wrong? I agree. Sick goes on to say, if Gladys Knight had the pips with her, the confusion would have been avoided. I still doubt that, but hey, who knows? Ryan McCarthy says, sounds like Ann Carillo was on the midnight train to Dotesville. Well, yeah, she probably was. Sick says, that's how inept they can be. I agree. I agree. Sick also says, I doubt Dionne Warwick was convinced or even cared for the confusion. And she on Twitter played it off. She laughed it off. But you know doggone well, though, in the secret circles in rooms of where we aren't privy to, yeah, she didn't feel that way. She didn't feel that deja vu. No, she didn't feel that. No. So I guess in the coverage of ESPN tennis with Chanda and Mary Carillo, I guess neither one of you will be the first to say goodbye. Unfortunately, though, I think you both need to because that faux pas is ridiculous. Study up on your stuff. I have somebody in the chat now who actually calls games, who does play-by-play. If he were to do something of that mistake of nature, you know how bad he would feel, and you know how the person who would be above him would say, yeah, that mistake you can't make on there, you got to go. I just don't understand that. You study. S-T-U-D-Y. You study. You study. I mean, and if for nothing else, just go to the producer and say something to the effect of, yeah, who's that blonde black woman? Yeah. I want to make sure I got the right. That's last night. No, that's Dionne Warwick. All right, cool. Yeah. Do that. But don't just blanketly just go out and say, oh, that's Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight. Hello. No. Goodbye. Man, get out of here, dummies. Lord have mercy. It's just making my blood pressure go up. In this, man. From the ridiculous to the sublime, we pay tribute to Serena Williams as upon further review. Perfect is next.
Tim Anderson.
Yordan Alvarez.
And it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense.
The Fro just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Discouragement, sorrow, distance. Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. But there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you. One ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get Over Divorce, where your new story begins here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker. Do you want to watch this episode commercial-free and uncensored, plus have exclusive access to content you won't see anywhere else? Well, now you can. Cole Sportz is now on Patreon. Become a patron today. Next week's installment of Cole Sportz, we will touch on week 1 of the NFL season. We will touch a little bit on college football because they want to go from 4 to 12 teams to playoff. And of course, all the other shenanigans they will have. One more time to the Cole world. I will go to there before we get on with the festivities. Snowman, I love it, brother. He says failure to prepare is preparing to fail. That's exactly what Mary Carillo and Chanda Rubin did. 6 says, Gladys Knight would have looked at those women and said, are you two for real? And then looked at Dionne Warwick and saying, that's what friends are for. That's true. Lion says, sick. I think she was stuck in a land of 1,000 dances. Oh my, it's ridiculous. That's just uncalled for. Uncalled for. The 6 says, your productions are great, Cole. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for that nod. Now, we witnessed a great play, possibly her last match in Flushing Meadow this past weekend. And we have to do it justice and do her justice. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay a little tribute to Serena Jamaica Williams. And we're going to do it in only the way Cole Sportz does it. We're going to put Serena Williams upon further review. Greatness is something that can be described in different ways. We can talk about it in varied tones. We can struggle giving it a concrete textbook definition, but we know it when we see it. When we look at Serena Williams, we see greatness. It shouldn't have come as big of a surprise as it did. After all, her father, Richard, said as much at the time we witnessed her sister Venus begin to display her tennis aptitude. But what was it that made her so great on the tennis court? Was it her powerful serve? Was it her forehand? Was it her range? Was it her overall athleticism? Or was it the combination of all those things? No matter your answer, she took her talents to claim the most Grand Slams of any tennis player in the Open era as of now. With 23, no man or woman can claim to have as many, and only one player, Mark Court, with 24, can claim having more Grand Slams all time than her. Serena had her detractors, and they still exist today. In fact, a national media sports analyst boldly said that Serena isn't the greatest female tennis player of all time, and this was stated after her swan song at this year's U.S. Open. Many agreed by saying that greats of the past like Martina Navratilova, Chris Evert, Steffi Graf, and even Monica Seles are considered higher in esteem than the woman who was born in Saginaw and grew up in Southern California. It leads someone to ask the question, is it because Serena never looked the part, acted the part, played the part, that she wasn't accepted as great in the tennis world? I believe you have to ask the question to the tennis players who lost to her in Grand Slam finals. The list is varied and lengthy. You have to ask Martina Hingis, Lindsay Davenport, Maria Sharapova, Helena Yakovic, Dinara Safina, Justine Enne, Vera Zvonareva, Aniska Wadwanska, Victoria Azarenka, Caroline Wozniacki, Lucy Safarova, Gabine Muguruza, and Angelique Kerber. Who were they? They are the women who were runner-up to Serena Williams when she took her Grand Slam trophies. Some of them lost more than once to her in the finals, like Maria Sharapova, Victoria Azarenka. And then there's the woman Serena has defeated more than any other to hoist Grand Slam trophies in the air. And that woman is probably her best friend, the one who knows her game and the person better than anybody else. Venus. There were many charges of collusion whenever those two played in Grand Slam finals, remarking how horrible in quality the matches were between those two. To me, that was put to rest when the two squared off to determine who was going to win the 2003 Australian Open. They fought for Grand Slams before, and they would fight for more of them after. However, this was a grueling test of wills that both women put on display. If there were any doubts about these women grooving the situation for a certain woman to win the match, it was all obliterated with this Grand Slam final right here. Serena is special from the standpoint she won a Serena Slam, claiming the French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open, and the Australian Open in succession within one calendar year. And then, at the tender age of 21, she wasn't in full control of her power, her athleticism, and her game yet. Her greatest time of ruling the tennis world came a full 10 years later. At an age when the tennis world would say, you're old, you're over the hill, the game has passed you by, you gotta look for your successors now, Serena began a reign only equaled by the great Steffi Graf in being the world's #1 tennis player for a record 186 consecutive weeks, from mid-February 2013 to the end of US Open, September 11th, 2016. To put that run in perspective, Martina Navratilova ruled the tennis world from June of 1982 to June of 1985. She was on top of the sport for exactly 3 years. Both Graf and Serena eclipsed her by 7 months. Serena's start of that reign was at the old age of 31. By then, she became a fashion icon, as an outfit was banned by the French Open for her to wear. She became a role model for many black women, and a source of fear for those who weren't. She became a go-to punchline for rappers to spit whenever they wanted to display someone having greatness for a long period of time. Many were into her private life as she dated, being the world's #1 women's player, and got a ton of props, along with some criticism, when she married the co-founder of Reddit, Alexis Ohanian. She now has a daughter named Olympia, and that came with a lot of complications. She had to receive an emergency C-section after it was found Olympia's heart rate dropped during labor. Serena herself suffered a pulmonary embolism and later postpartum depression after giving birth to her daughter. All of that, and the champion spirit which courses through her veins, got her back onto the court. Even though she never won a Grand Slam after that, She did go on to play in many Grand Slam finals, though. Just her competitive drive is something to behold. I can name the many Grand Slam championships she's won that's impressed me, but there's only one which stands out among the rest. The 2017 Australian Open. The less impressive feat of the two was that she became the queen once again after blowing through the tournament, not losing a set. The more impressive feat of the two was that Serena did this while being 7 and 8 weeks pregnant. There is no question about the following statements. There has been no American tennis player, man or woman, who has achieved as much as Serena Williams. There has been no women's tennis player who has earned as much money as she has on the tour. There has been no American tennis player who has embraced being part of the culture as much as Serena has. Now, almost at the tender age of 41, playing professionally just shy of 27 years, I believe Serena Jamaica Williams has earned her time of enjoying life away from the sport that gave her the fame, notoriety, and wealth she's accrued over this time. The most beautiful part about this story is Serena can now begin living her best life right now. And with all things considered, she's lived a very charmed existence already. She now can traverse the earth free of any obligation for whether she's the greatest of all time in your mind or not. Serena Williams is one of the most celebrated athletes, male or female, in the 21st century. No dispute is necessary.
If you feel led in your heart to donate to the program, just go to cash.app/$ host Cole Johnson. That's cash.app/$ host Cole Johnson. And before I go, let me just hit the chat one last time. Vic says 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Sick. I appreciate that. He says that was beautiful. I appreciate that. He also says, who remembers Jamie Foxx serenading the Serena Williams? Yes, I remember that as well. That was an event. Makes me laugh to this day. Well, that concludes this episode of Cole Sports. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed having you watch it with me or listen with me. I am Cole Johnson, and this is... Cole Sports!
Thank you for tuning in to Cole Sports. To download this episode, go to Spreaker and type Cole Sports with a Z. For apparel, go to Spring and type Cole Sports VIP Boutique. That's with a Z. To reach Cole Johnson, go to flowcode.com/page/host Cole Johnson. This has been a Comey Media Incorporated presentation.